What's up, family? This is the African superstar, the one and only. Today, I want to talk about an unpopular opinion, which is their story is not my story, and my story is not their story. One of the things that kind of come with this social media journey of mine, as well as living in a country that has become wildly popular, after I started traveling here, by the way, is the fallout of other people's experiences and the fallout of, failed outcomes of other people's experiences. For some of you guys that don't know, I've now been living in Ghana for 5 good years. I moved here in 2020. I moved out of the US in 2017. So we can see that, my interest of leaving the US or migrating to Ghana was not kind of part of the trends. It was something that was in the movement a long time ago. Over a decade ago is when I ultimately made the decision to leave the US. I started putting things into place. Naturally, when these failures, especially regarding Ghana, come up, I'm always asked, well, how do you feel? And is this true? And all these kind of things. And for that, I want to say their story is not my story. Okay. We have to kind of understand that all members of the diaspora, especially those of us that are migrating out of the Western world, we are not all on the same pretense. I didn't have to be driven out of America by current events to understand that my future was not in that location. This is something that, again, I have been exploring and traveling as far back as, I started traveling internationally from my childhood, but with intentions the early 2000s, really trying to scope out locations. I went to Mexico. I went to South Africa in 2016. I came to Ghana in 2016. I went to the UK in 2014. So, I've been internationally traveling for a long time before the trends, before the movements and all of that stuff. The second thing I kind of want to state is due to the fact that Ghana is really popular, a lot of people are coming here prematurely. A lot of people are coming here, because they have been influenced or motivated by social media, not necessarily because they like the place. Not necessarily because they have connections or ties or are familiar with the culture or are open-minded or are world travelers that have experienced different locations before. Me and them cannot be compared. It's unfortunate that some people are coming to Ghana and they're not having success. When that happens, I really, we would have to go back to the root of, first of all, why they came, the processes of how they came, what was their game plan of coming here, because I have to say for the record, there are rich and poor around the world. Okay, someone is living the rich lifestyle in the US just as someone's living the rich lifestyle here in Ghana. The reality, unfortunately, that a lot of people have encountered here, being scammed, romance scams, land scams, extreme financial problems, cultural differences, a lot of that stuff, it really doesn't apply to me. I know that because I'm having a positive, drama-free and smooth transition here in Ghana, people seem to think that I'm romanticizing. I would like to combat that with, I'm not romanticizing anything. This is my life. This is my life. And for people that haven't yet reached the 5-year mark, how dare you say that some of us are not telling the truth about Ghana? No. Your situation is not the reality of all of us that are here, And so I just have to kind of put this out there because I really hate the narrative of A, I'm part of the trends, because no, I'm not. B, I'm not being honest. I'm romanticizing Ghana. I'm painting this picture, blah, blah, blah. No, my proactiveness, my travels, my preparation is what's given me success, which is why I come here on the platform regularly and promote you guys to devise similar strategies so that you have the longevity. If I picked up on a one-way ticket and moved out of the US without knowing where I was going and how I was going to support myself, without having awareness of the cultural differences of the locations I was going to, all these kind of things, I would fail too. The only difference between me and them is maybe their preparation. Recently there's a young lady who, her video's going viral currently. And she was here in Ghana and she's leaving. She's moving to Jamaica. In her case, she is a single mother. She has a child to cater for and all the things that go along with that. You see, so grouping us all in, is really not an educated or intelligent move. And so I just want to reiterate, Ghana's good for me. I'm not, Ghana's good for me. If it weren't, I wouldn't be here. You guys see, I travel frequently. I can hop up and go to the UK, US when I need to. I'm not stuck here by any means. I'm here because I choose to be here. It's really not rocket science. So I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I know I've been forwarded her video in particular, and considering to do like an in-depth response to it. But the reality is, like, what many people are encountering, I don't encounter. I didn't move here for a man like a lot of these ladies. I didn't move here with $2. Hello. I didn't move here coming to look for a job or anything like that. I moved here for freedom. I moved here for weather. I moved here for safety. I moved here for good food, quality of life, social life. Yes, I do date here. It's not the main reason, which is why through the couple of relationships I've had since I moved to the continent, if they don't work out, I'm still here because they were never the main core reason of why I've come. And I think if some people were honest and say, you know what, I came because I was looking for love. I came ill-prepared. I came without sorting out my finances. I thought it was going to be cheap to live in Africa, so I didn't consider those things. I thought I was going to be a big deal because I was a foreigner. I had perceived, notions about what the Ghanaian environment or the African environment was about. If we start having those conversations, we'll get down to the root cause. Because like I said, there's rich and poor people in the US, there's rich and poor people here in Ghana. It depends on how you strategize yourself. And I'm going to close with this. If you're a member of the diaspora and you're coming to the motherland, you should want to achieve a better quality of life over here. It doesn't make sense you coming from the Western world and living struggle life here. No. But if you want to segue into a decent quality of life, it requires planning. And let me tell you, Ghana is one of the most expensive African countries currently on the continent. Your $2 is not going to go far here. If you want to get those $2 village prices, you should go to a country that's not popular. Hello. The countries that everybody's not talking about, that's probably where the cost of living is going to be a lot less expensive. Because guess what? As foreigners migrate to countries on the continent, the cost of living goes up. Supply and demand and popularity. You think the locals don't notice? Oh my gosh, these foreigners are coming with their dollars and pounds. Let's be an opportunist. Let's opportune. Duh. Same thing you would do. Same thing you would do. So anyway, these are the thoughts and opinions of the one and only African superstar. Guys, I want to remind you, hey, if you're interested in Ghana, come and do a private tour with me before you move here. Get an idea of the place. See if it's a good fit. Deal with the currency a bit. See if you can understand it, if it makes sense to you. I vehemently discourage getting a one-way ticket to a country you've never been to and don't know much about. It is not wise. Some people have made it work. Many more have failed. Until we meet again, stay black and true. If you ain't black, just stay true.